So if you're watching this video, you're ahead of 90% of most hotel owners. Now, when most hotels typically struggle with their profit margins, what they typically tend to do is either blame their staffs, blame OTAs, blame the market, or blame the economy. Not realizing that, and this is something I've noticed, majority of the busy hotels that I've seen are typically having very low margins, right? And that is a result of them leaking revenue. Now, what I want you to understand is that, and something I had to learn the hard way, is that increase in effort does not mean increase in revenue, right? Because when hotel owners are struggling with their revenue, what they typically want to do is do more. So, meaning they want to start running more ads, give out more discounts, and just work longer hours. But that never seems to solve that problem. Now, the real solution here is for you to remove the chaos. Now, revenue increase is as a result of you removing chaos. Now, when you remove the chaos, what happens is that you stop wasting the demand that you already have. Now, most hotels already have enough demand, right? They're just leaking revenue. And that's what we're going to be talking about a lot in this video. And my main takeaway for you in this video is for you to understand that margins is not a result of magic. It's not luck. It doesn't happen by happenstance. It's a result of you having the right combination. And the right combination is you juggling. Are you sure you're making the right decision? And are you making it in the right order? Once you have this sequence, you have the combination lock to unlock more revenues for your hotel. So what does that mean? You don't actually have a revenue problem. What you have is a structure problem. And main thing is for you to understand a change in the mindset. You need to stop running your hotel like a worker or like a staff. You need to start thinking like your owner and have that mindset. Now, what's different in this mindset? Now, the worker's mindset is typically reactive. So when things happen, you react. Versus the owner mindset when you're designing your plan and designing structure. That's the difference in the mindset. And now, revenue only rewards those who focus on designing. If you're reacting, revenue punishes you for that. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 revenue leaks that happens at most hotels. Let's begin. So, let me walk you through the 3 ways that I see hotels lose revenue. Now, the first one is going to be pricing. Now, most hotels make emotional decisions when it comes to their pricing structure. Now, if pricing lives in your head, what you end up having is that your revenue becomes reactive. And what that looks like for most hotels is that when their hotels occupancy is going low, they drop the price out of panic, right? And if the occupancy is going high, they begin to increase the prices. Sometimes they increase it too late, meaning that you've lost a lot of potential revenue. Now, sometimes they see the competitors dropping their prices, and that causes them to panic as well, and they begin to drop their prices. So, what you need to understand is that your pricing needs a structure. Your decision-making system needs to be structured properly. Otherwise, what you have is you end up second guessing every single decision you make. There's no price you pick that you feel confident about. And that needs to change. Remember what we talked about the mindset. You need to stop treating your business like a worker and treat it like an owner and design instead of you react. So if you end up having this, what you end up having is you do have a busy weekend, but in reality, you're not making as much money as you possibly could. You're losing margins. And the reason is that you've sold rooms wrongly. You've either sold them too cheap because you dropped the price too early, or you've sold it too early because if you had waited, you'd have probably gotten it at the right price instead of selling at a discount, or you could have end up selling it to the wrong guest because you were in a hurry and trying to get sales. Instead of you waiting, you're now having issues with shoulder days, and you never really know what to really do with those, right? What you need to do to solve all of this is to have a proper pricing structure. Now, I do have a video where I go in depth on how you can decide your pricing for your hotel. You can go watch that video. And also, I do have resources down below for free that you can click on to give you guidelines as to how to price your hotel properly. So we'll move to the next leakage, which is going to be at check-in. So the leak number 2 here is check-in. Now, at check-in, there's something that happens that most hotels take for granted. It's very interesting here. Now, during the check-in is when the guest trusts you the most. This is when their trust is at its peak. And this is when they've already made a decision to stay with you, right? And this is when their wallet is open. So they're willing to spend more. And here's the thing. Here's where you can actually capture more value or you can lose a lot of that. Now, most hotels treat check-in like admin, right? They're focused on just getting the name, swipe the credit card, give them the key, tell them bye, and move to the next person. If you're doing this, you're leaving a lot on the table because this is the opportunities for you to grant more upgrades, generate more revenue for your hotel. Extensions, add-ons, things like this are things you can utilize to capitalize more revenue for your hotel. And the thing is, most of the people blame the staffs. Oh, my staffs aren't doing this, my staffs aren't doing that. Well, it's not a staff problem. What you have is an instruction problem because your staffs in this moment don't understand what to offer, or they don't know what to offer. They don't know when to offer it or how to offer it. So you need to create all of this and design this for your staffs, right? To solve this problem because otherwise you have revenue disappear. And what did I tell you earlier? I told you you need to stop reacting and start designing. And so you need to design this structure for your staffs. And if you need help with that, I already have the links down below. The third way a lot of hotels are losing their revenue is not having a post-stay system, meaning that after a guest is checked out, you don't do anything to build that relationship and it just simply ends at checkout. Now, doing this causes you to lose a lot. And I'll explain. Now, if your relationship ends at checkout and you don't have a follow-up system, you don't have an incentive for them to come back to your hotel, you don't have an incentive for them to book direct with you instead of going through an OTA, and you don't have a system to keep the relationship with you and the guest alive, you're losing a lot of money. Now, imagine this. After a guest is checked in, checked out, 6 months later, they want to book another stay again. They don't really go directly to you. What they end up doing is going to an OTA. And the reason is not because something happened during the whole stay at your hotel. They probably loved it. So emotionally, nothing went wrong. They really liked to stay at your hotel. But the problem is that they forgot you. They forgot about you. And then now they end up going back to OTA. And then you now end up having to pay commission for the same guest that already trusted you and already liked you. Now that is an option, right? Because OTAs already did their job. They got you the guests. They introduced you to the guests. So they did what they're supposed to do. Now, if the guest keeps coming back to OTAs to stay with your hotel, that's no longer an OTA problem. That's a you problem, right? You don't have system. And that's is you paying commissions over and over and over again for the same guest that you already own. Now, that's something that you need to work on seriously because this is a structural problem. So, after we've taken a look at all the revenue leaks, this is where a lot of smart hotel owners still get confused. They're confused because all of this isn't obvious because nothing in the system is really broken, right? The housekeeping is still cleaning rooms and they're still working as hardworking as ever. The check-ins are still being processed like they should. The reviews are still good, but the margins are low. Now, revenue leaks do not scream, right? They whisper. And because of that, this is what is happening. You sold a room at a really low price that you're losing a lot of revenue. You didn't offer an upgrade at check-in when a guest would have happily paid you more for that upgraded room. You've lost that revenue. Now, a guest didn't return and book direct with your hotel, rather they went through OTA, and then now you're paying commission. Now, all of this adds up day after day, week after week. That you're losing a lot of revenue. So now you need to understand that revenue isn't about selling harder. It's about removing chaos because revenue increases when you have more clarity. So when your pricing has the right structure, you stop second guessing your rates. When your check-in has the right instruction, you stop winging it. When your post-stay system is actually started by a trigger and you actually have a system behind it, you stop losing your guests to OTAs and you begin to generate more revenue. So this is how you turn a busy hotel into a profitable one. So here's the real question you need to ask yourself. Now, Are you going to keep working harder, or are you going to start building more structure? Because you don't actually need more guests, right? What you need is to have fewer leaks. And if you begin to fix these leaks, you begin to generate more revenue, because you watch the same property, the same location, with the same number of guests generate more margins. See you in the next one.